everybody, Brad the Italian, and today we're going to be talking about a report that came in earlier this morning from ABC7 News. I did have another video lined up and ready to go, fully edited. However, I felt this report needed more exposure, and I hope to give a dog trainer's point of view on it. This video is going to have a bit of a somber tone due to the seriousness and events that happen within this video, or events that happen within this report. I will be reading off the report, however, I won't be showing any images from it. I will be posting a link as well to the ABC7 news report. They do have a video on their link, though, that shows the girl's face and what happened to her. So there is a graphic warning if you decide to click and watch it there. But this will be me reading through the report. So here we go. A 3-year-old is recovering after being bitten by a dog wearing a service vest inside of a Texas restaurant on Saturday. Claverta Gordon Waldrop, Ronan's mother, said the family had just arrived at the Loose Caboose with a close family friend. Ronan was leading the group to the line to order when she came face to face with a dog that the family described as a pit bull. Now, unfortunately, we don't know what the dog is so far, so when I do talk about this, I'm going to be referring to it as a dog, not as a pit bull, just until we find out the facts of it being a pit bull. The toddler's mother and her father, James Waldrop, were folding up the stroller at the door, but their friend Kimberly Parker was right behind the child when she encountered the dog. Now, when I first was reading this, it was very confusing for me. I didn't really understand why they separated or what was going on. If you do watch the video on the ABC7 website, you'll see that the restaurant has the stairs that lead up to it, and then you turn left and left again and enter the restaurant. So what I'm assuming happened here was that the father and mother were folding the stroller down at the bottom of the stairs, while the other two, Ronan and Kimberly, went up the stairs to go get in line to order. It had a hold of her face and shook her, Parker said. The lady pulled on the leash and the dog released her and just dropped her like a rag doll. Parker handed Ronan to her mother, who took her to the bathroom to assess her injuries. In my mind, as she's screaming, "I just need to stop the bleeding, I just need to stop the bleeding," Gordon Waldrop said. Ronan's father found them in the bathroom and asked what happened. Her best friend Kim says, "She's been bitten by a dog." Waldrop recalled, "I said, 'What dog?' and 2 people at the door said, 'She's running away, I broke and ran.'" Waldrop chased the woman and the dog down to the street to her car. He said he told the woman she needed to stay because there was an accident. She yells, "It's your daughter's fault," the father said. People around were recording their interaction. The dog owner can be seen being driven away by a man. Waldrop was able to get a photo of the woman and her license plate. Ronan was taken to the hospital where she received stitches. Her mother said the doctor did not believe she would have bad scarring, but did suggest she follow up with a plastic surgeon. "It's enough that she's going to have the mental trauma," her mother said. "I don't want her to look in the mirror and have that be a constant reminder of what happened." The Harris County Sheriff's Office said they do know who owns the dog and have a meeting scheduled with her. Information will be passed on directly to the district attorney's office to determine if charges are warranted. The Waldrop family does want the owner to be held accountable. For them to not show any compassion or any remorse to even stop and ask if my baby was okay goes beyond words, Gordon Waldrop said. "She cares more about this dog," Waldrop said. "This dog now has to be checked out and everything because my child runs the chance of getting rabies, so that's still on the table until we get confirmation of its medical history. The family has set up a GoFundMe to recover Ronan's future medical expenses." So as I stated before, this is absolutely horrific, and I feel so bad for the family that has to go through this. I feel terrible that one of Ronan's first experiences with dogs is one biting her on the face. This is such a hard topic for any dog trainer to really delve into or to look at. And it's so hard for us to explain all the nuances of what's happening in this one snapshot of an instant. So if you watch the ABC7 News clip, it will tell you that the dog was wearing a service vest but was not service dog trained. And it's so wrong to do that. It's There are no words for how mad it makes me that somebody would slap a service dog vest on a dog that has not been trained for a service. It is appalling because instances like this will happen. You used the service vest to get your dog inside of a restaurant who did not ask to be inside that restaurant, who did not want to be inside that restaurant. And the way I can tell that is because the way the dog responded when the little girl popped around the corner, it seems like a defensive bite, not an aggressive bite. So let me further explain. When a dog gets super anxious, there's something called the bite threshold. Their anxiety continues to push them towards a bite threshold, and every dog has this. It's just a number of circumstances or what's happening around them that need to happen just right for them to bite. Now, the reason why dog training is so important is because we continue to push the bite threshold away and make it so that there needs to be more and more and more stimuluses in order for this dog to bite. Now, by slapping that service dog vest onto the dog, you made everybody assume that this dog has a supernatural bite threshold, but it didn't. And it was put in a situation where there's loud clattering glasses, there's knives and forks on plates, there's people moving around him, there's glasses slamming down, there's plates falling. All of this is happening around your dog, and they're getting more and more anxious. Until finally, the straw that breaks the camel's back is a 3-year-old girl that happened to pop up next to the dog, and he wasn't expecting it. And so he bit in defense. The problem is that people want to point blame at the dog for biting. I point blame at the pet parents for putting the dog in that situation. If they hadn't done that, this girl wouldn't have been bitten. If they hadn't slapped a service vest onto this dog, it wouldn't have been allowed in the restaurant, therefore not bitten anybody. Now there is a big risk that this dog could be put down due to the pet parents' lackadaisical attitude when it came to service vests. And I hope and I wish that this dog wouldn't be put down, but instead given to a family that would take better responsibility over it. A family that would love and care for it and not put it at risk of biting somebody else. Take it to training and further push away that bite threshold. If need be, take it to an animal behaviorist and have that behavior completely wiped out. There isn't any advice I can give to the parents because I really don't see how they could have prevented this from happening. I mean, it just seems like wrong place, wrong time for Ronan, and that is awful. Awful. But it's pet parents like this that give dogs such a bad name. And us dog trainers, we have to fight against it tooth and nail to prove that pit bulls aren't vicious, to prove that German shepherds aren't scary, to prove that Dobermans are just fine. And the fact of the matter that the pet parents ran away after their dog bit somebody is horrendous, let alone a 3-year-old girl. That is disgusting. And these pet parents should be appalled at their behavior in this situation. Now, some of you might be asking, isn't checking for rabies a bit extreme? The dog is obviously owned. It probably doesn't have rabies. That is true. However, every doctor has to check and make sure. And the only way to check is to ask the pet parents to give the information that they've had the rabies shots, that they're all up to date with their vaccinations. Otherwise, the doctors have to check Ronan, and that's not going to be a fun experience. So I do want to say this. This is for everybody. If you see a dog, always check with the pet parent whether you're allowed to pet them or not. Now, this isn't towards Ronan's family at all, because I do not see how they could have prevented this from happening. It sounds like the girl turned the corner and the dog bit. There's nothing they could have done. But if you have the opportunity to see a dog from a distance and you want to pet them, check with the pet parent first if it's okay. Don't just go and assume that you can pet the dog. When I worked in a pet store, I had to tell the associates over and over again, do not just walk up and pet this dog. You have to double check. No matter how happy or excited they look or whatever's going on, double check. And I'll give an example of when I did this. So I had been a senior dog trainer and I'd been in it for a while. I knew what I was doing, and I approached a pet parent and I said, "Hey, do you mind if I pet your dog? They're really cute." The pet parent told me yes, and they were all happy about it. I knelt down to help them be more comfortable with me. However, then the dog tried to reach out and bite me in the face. Luckily, I was able to get my face out of the way, and I jumped back and I looked at the pet parents and they responded to me, "Oh, I'm sorry. They don't like men with beards." I happen to be a man with a beard, so of course the dog responded to me. So, pet parents, if somebody comes up to you and asks you to pet their dog and they happen to fit the demographic that your dog happens to bite, tell them no, that it's not okay to pet your dog. And attacks like this will happen less often. If everybody can take responsibility and ask for permission and then give permission if it's appropriate. Again, I want to state how sincerely sorry I am for Ronan. It's terrible that this happened. The mental scars and trauma that she's going to have to go through, and I hope that she has some kind of therapy sessions to help her get more comfortable with dogs again. Because owning a dog and being comfortable with dogs is a great feeling, especially when everybody is able to be safe and comfortable with each other. I myself, having a daughter, I couldn't imagine. I I couldn't imagine what it would be like to see my daughter in the mouth of a dog. I To see the scars or to see the cuts from the dog, it would shatter me. It would break me. And that's why we need to be so careful when it comes to interacting with dogs we don't know. Because we don't know them. It would be like walking up to a person and just randomly petting them. You have no idea how the person's going to react to that. If it's me, I might laugh. If it's somebody, Joe Schmo, he might attack you. You don't know. So always double check with the pet parents. Pet parents, always make sure that you're giving the right type of consent to get your dog pet. Never, ever, in any circumstances, ever, ever put your dog in a service vest if it is not trained to be a service animal. Never do it. Ever. It makes it so much harder for restaurants and airports and other places to allow these service dogs in. They're already trying to stop allowing service dogs in certain airports. And it's because of people like this who are completely and totally irresponsible. And the people who need their service animals genuinely need them. And you belittle that when you buy a vest and slap it on your dog and think it's okay. So I don't know what else to say on this situation. That's my take on what happened. I feel sorry for Ronan. I feel sorry for the dog for being put in that situation. I feel sorry for the family that they have to endure this and go through this horrific event. And I hope that everyone can come out of the other side of this for the better. I hope the dog can get better pet parents. But that's going to be it for this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you all Thursday. Thank you.